polled this morning as he battles Clinton in a fight for Ohio. Both candidates in Cleveland ramping up their campaigns in the swing state. Clinton suffering a coughing fit on the stump, but still taking a swing at Trump.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
His campaign immediately hitting back.
I don't choke. She chokes. Look at the deal she's made.
Labor Day is here.
Our David Muir sits down exclusively with both candidates and their running mates right here this morning.
Good morning, America.
Back to school health alert. The CDC and pediatricians out with a major headline about flu vaccines and nasal sprays. Dr. Ashton joins us live. And an ABC News exclusive. Chris Brown speaks out this morning about his arrest.
I cannot wait till the truth comes to light about this.
Accused of threatening a former beauty queen with a gun. What really happened behind the scenes of that hours-long police standoff at his home? New details from the investigation only on GMA.
And Serena, the superstar Williams, does it again. Making history at the U.S. Open, winning more Grand Slam matches than any player, man or woman, ever. Now the greatest of all time has a new record in sight.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. How about that Serena Williams? And how about that voice we just heard? Welcome back, Michael.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
Come on now.
Be quiet. No.
It is great to have you full time with us. It does feel like the first day of school around here, doesn't it?
Yeah, the only thing I'm missing is my Spider-Man lunchbox. It does feel like that.
You did have that, didn't you?
I did, absolutely, and a kiss one, too.
All of that.
Well, we're going to meet your mini Michael coming up, but we're going to start out with politics. And now that Labor Day has passed, we're in the home stretch of the presidential race. 63 days before the final votes, and a brand new poll out this morning shows Donald Trump rising into a dead heat with Hillary Clinton. Both candidates bearing down now on the big battleground states. You see their planes sharing a tarmac in Cleveland yesterday. We're going to have those exclusive interviews with David Muir in just a moment. But let's start out with ABC's Cecilia Vega, who has all the latest from a busy Labor Day on the trail. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, busy is right. Good morning to you. No holiday for these candidates. Traditionally, the campaigns kick into high gear after Labor Day, but nothing, as you know, about this election is traditional. This is the final sprint. A political traffic jam hitting this Ohio tarmac. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump landing just steps from one another before hitting the trail.
Welcome to our big plane. It's so exciting.
275 days without a press conference, and Clinton broke in her new plane by answering reporters' questions and going after Donald Trump.
He's temperamentally unfit to be president and commander-in-chief. But if you look at his behavior toward Putin and Russia, that is a serious indication of how unfit he is.
But her inaugural ride on Hill Force One interrupted by a coughing fit.
Get some water.
This after a 2-minute coughing fit earlier on the campaign trail.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic. Boy, we have 63 days to go.
Trump's campaign manager responding immediately, tweeting, "Must be allergic to media. Finally spent a minute with them." Trump also racing to the finish line in Ohio. The Republican nominee now saying he will do all 3 debates. The only reason he wouldn't?
Hurricanes, natural disaster. No, I expect to do all 3.
So you heard it. He says he's going to do all 3. Now, Hillary Clinton brought out her allies. They were out in force, spanning the map. Even her former foe, Bernie Sanders, hit the trail for the very first time on his own. And we now know that next week, First Lady Michelle Obama will campaign for Hillary Clinton for the first time in this race. Clinton, Robin, is taking no chances right now.
All right, Cecilia. Both presidential candidates were in Ohio with their running mates, and both teams sat down with one person. World News Tonight anchor David Muir. Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine taking aim, fighting back against Trump's questions about her stamina, David.
Robin, great to see you. Michael, great to see you too.
Thank you, my friend.
63 days, but you're here longer than that. Hey, George. Yeah, all four saying yes to sitting down with us, racing across Ohio from Cleveland to Youngstown. We first met up with Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine moments after touching down on Clinton's new plane, dubbed Hill Force One. They have a new book, but they also have that brand new poll this morning. This race is tightening dramatically. And here's your first look. So Labor Day is here.
Labor Day is here.
I hear you just landed in Ohio. And I understand you flew Hill Force One.
We did.
Did you notice out the window the Trump-Pence plane, too?
We did.
Is that a sign it's game on?
I think it might be.
63 days to go until Election Day. And you mentioned Donald Trump in this country, Secretary Clinton. And people know he wants to build a wall, tough on immigration. I'm curious, when a voter is asked what Hillary Clinton stands for, with 63 days to go, what do you hope they'll say?
I hope what they'll say is that I stand for the kind of future that will help them and their families. We want to get the economy to work for everyone, not just those at the top. The best I can tell is Donald Trump is for building a big wall, which we now know after his unfortunate trip to Mexico. The Mexicans have said they're not paying for it.
You talk about the trip to Mexico.
Yes.
Donald Trump said they did not discuss who would pay for that wall. The Mexican president afterwards said they did discuss it and that Mexico would not pay for it. Your campaign said, quote, it turns out Trump didn't just choke, he got beat in the room and lied about it.
Yeah.
Is that what you believe?
Well, that's what it sounded like, because what happened is what we call a diplomatic incident, because he came out saying one thing and the Mexican president contradicted him almost immediately. So it is clear that he went down with a mission. It's been the mission of his whole campaign from the very first day to demonize immigrants, to call Mexicans rapists and criminals, to do everything he could to stir up all kinds of bad feelings about hardworking people. And he didn't raise it, so he did choke.
On those trips, those recent trips, Donald Trump tweeted, Hillary Clinton didn't go to Louisiana. She didn't go to Mexico. She doesn't have the drive or stamina to make America great again. He goes on to say, does she look presidential, fellas? Give me a break.
Well, can I just, does she look presidential, fellas? That's an idiotic comment from Donald Trump. I got added to this ticket about 11, 12 weeks, 100 days from the election. This great public servant has been on the field for 17 or 18 months. It's hard to keep up with her. The day he tweeted out, Hillary didn't come to Mexico, does she have the energy? She was here in Ohio talking to the American Legion.
We do press Hillary Clinton on the FBI revealing their investigation into her emails, what she said she didn't recall, and an aide breaking her old Blackberries with a hammer. We learned about that in the investigation. We'll get into that a little later.
And how does she explain how the polls are tightening, David?
Well, listen, Robin, I asked her about that. She said she fully expected these polls to tighten, but a lot of people have looked at these last couple of weeks and have said Donald Trump was out there a lot more than she was. She spent more time with donors. I asked, has she been out-campaigned by him? She said no, but we'll get into that.
And something else we're looking forward to are the debates. So do you have a chance to ask her about the debates? And what does she expect from Trump in the debate?
Listen, you know what she said? She said Trump said after every one of those Republican debates, I won. And she said that is not lost on her. She takes that into this preparation, and she takes it very seriously. You can tell she's already prepping.
Okay, Michael brings up Donald Trump. You had a busy day because you raced across the state and spoke with both of them.
Yeah, we didn't get a speeding ticket, but it was close. We headed to the county fair where Donald Trump was. A huge crowd gathered outside for Donald Trump and his running mate. He pointed to those crowds, but he also pointed to the polls, saying he's on the rise. And we asked, what does he mean when he talks about Hillary Clinton's stamina? And we asked him about what she said. Did he choke? Isn't it divide and conquer at this point? We've got 63 days to go.
It is. Very rarely will we be together, like maybe once every 2 weeks. Right. We like it because we like each other, but the fact is it's better when Mike goes someplace and I go someplace.
Let me ask you, you've often talked about Hillary Clinton's stamina.
Right.
You've even said she doesn't look presidential.
I really do believe that.
Well,
yes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I just don't think she has a presidential look, and you need a presidential look. You have to get the job done. I think if she went to Mexico, she would have had a total failure. We had a big success.
But when you talk about her not looking presidential, are you talking about aesthetics here?
I'm talking about general. Hey, by the way, she says things about me that are horrible. As an example, the single greatest asset I have, according to those that know me, is my temperament. But she came up with this Madison Avenue line, oh, let's talk about his temperament. It's the single greatest asset I have is my temperament.
Thank you. And Trump knows his opponent is here too. Hillary Clinton, who's also here in Ohio, as you know, told us a short time ago that you choked. That the idea of Mexico paying for this wall has been central to your campaign. Did you choke?
So let me just tell you about choking. I don't choke. She chokes. Look at the deal she's made. She's responsible for so many bad things that have happened to our country, including the signing by her husband of NAFTA, which has drained our country of its jobs. I've been given A+, including by you people, but I've been given A+ for the job I did in Mexico. And the fact is, Mexico will pay for the wall. It was discussed that it wouldn't be discussed, but they know my stance, and I know their stance.
Did the Mexican president break his word in talking about it?
And we had ground rules, and that's okay. See who wins in the end will win. 100%. They're going to pay for the wall.
Governor Pence, you're making news this week in revealing that you'll release your tax returns.
Sure.
And
be a pretty quick read.
Pretty quick read. I'm curious, do you think the American voter has the right to see the tax returns of Donald Trump before they vote on Election Day?
You know, I'm very pleased to provide our tax returns. You're going to find out my family's a middle-class family, and that there'll be pretty clear evidence that we haven't profited from our 16 years in and around public life, as some others have.
Governor, I'm asking about Donald Trump and every presidential candidate going back 40 years.
I'm releasing my tax returns. Donald Trump will release his tax returns. I'll give mine to you all this week, and he's going to provide his after a routine audit is done.
As far as my taxes are concerned, the only one that cares is the press, I will tell you. And even the press, I tell you, it's not a big deal.
You don't think there are any voters out there who...
I don't think so, no. I think people don't care.
I'm not sure about that. We've heard from a lot of voters and saying that they want to see his tax return. And again, he is the only one in recent history not to release.
Yeah, and we'll press him further on that tonight. We also ask about immigration, his speech in Phoenix, and where he's going with undocumented immigrants. He does leave the door open in this interview for undocumented immigrants to stay in this country. You'll see how he answers that. And the debate, we asked him about the debate too. Anyone playing Hillary, we asked. He said, I'm not preparing in a traditional way. He said, we'll think about it. Not even holding mock debates yet.
All right.
Everything kind of been untraditional anyway.
That's right. So why should it change now? I think you have some more to say about this, and you will tonight. You'll have both of the candidates, more of your interview tonight on World News Tonight with this guy, David Muir.
Thanks guys. It's back to school here.
I know it is.
And back to Matthew Dad.
I brought the pencil.
That's right. You switched from the pen right now. Matthew Dad, our chief political analyst, Martha Raddatz, is going to join us as well. Let's talk about that new poll, Matt, from CNN. Shows Donald Trump among likely voters pulling ahead, 2-point lead within the margin of error. Hillary Clinton still leading among registered voters. Interesting contrast.
Yeah, I think this poll is significant, probably the most significant piece of data that we've seen in the entire general election so far. It demonstrates, one, as you say, that among the people that are most excited, most engaged, Donald Trump has a lead, and that should concern the Hillary Clinton campaign. The other thing that I think should concern the Hillary Clinton campaign coming out of this poll is that Donald Trump has now blown through his cap. He used to be capped at 42 or 43. He's now up to 45 in this poll. He's at his personal best. And if Hillary Clinton thought she could coast in the home stretch of this thing, she better tighten up her track shoes and buy a bigger box of cough drops and be prepared for a very, very close race.
Looks like a close race right now, and most of the candidates now are spending most of their time in about 12 of those battleground states where she still does hold a lead.
She still does. If you take a look at the panoply of battleground states, she leads almost every single one of them. But one thing to keep in mind is the battleground states are lagging indicators of where this race is. As the race changes nationally, then the battleground states change. I would expect in the next week, many of those battleground states that are blue now are going to go to purple.
Right. There hasn't been recent polling on that yet. Let's bring in Martha Raddatz as well. And Martha, congratulations. You're going to be moderating that presidential debate on October 9th. You've also been spending time in those battleground states, especially talking to voters in that key state of Pennsylvania.
Exactly, George. You know, we talk to voters who reflect what poll numbers say about unfavorability. And the people we talk to who are Clinton supporters have serious trust issues with her. I heard that again and again. Some of it's because of old controversies, but a lot of people are absorbing the message that Trump is putting out there, that she's not telling the truth. As for Trump, the voters who are still trying to decide, especially there in Pennsylvania, do worry about temperament issues, despite what he told David Muir.
Okay, Martha, Matt, thanks very much.
From an ongoing political storm to 2 tropical systems on the satellite. Hermine spinning off the coast of New England as another storm, Hurricane Newton, makes landfall in Cabo this morning. And of course, Ginger is tracking it all for us. Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning to you, Robin. Yes, Cabo San Lucas on attack there. The landfalling hurricane looking impressive on satellite, 90+ mile-per-hour winds with a Cat 1. The moisture will eventually make its way into the southwest of the United States here. Potential flash flooding. But there's video from Cape Cod, or Nantucket, Massachusetts, where the wind is blowing. They've got trees and power lines down. That's that same system we've been following for weeks. You can see the track there. You know it made landfall in Florida. You know it went through the southeast. And then this weekend, people were going, what about that hurricane we heard about? Well, it became a post-tropical cyclone, kept going east, leaving us much drier, but we are still under tropical storm warning up in parts of southern New England along the coast. Michael?
All right, thank you, Ginger. And now to a big headline this morning about the flu vaccine in your children. And ABC's Dr. Jennifer Ashton joins us now with the details. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Michael.
How are you? Now, just straight to it. What do parents need to know about the flu vaccine?
So for some historical perspective here, a few months ago, the CDC evaluated basically the last 3 years of flu seasons, flu vaccines. They found that the nasal flu vaccine, that nasal mist, largely given to children, really did not work. This morning, the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with their recommendations for this flu season. No surprise here. They echoed what the CDC said. They're saying the flu vaccine in the nasal mist form should not be given to children. To be crystal clear here, they are recommending that every child above the age of 6 months gets the injectable flu vaccine.
And a lot of people, I guess, would do that because the injectable is not comfortable for children.
Or adults.
Or adults, yeah. But what do you tell patients about the importance of flu vaccines? Because there are a lot of people who don't take them.
100%. And listen, Michael, I take this very seriously. I have been diagnosed with influenza twice. Both times I thought I was going to die. I took care of a pregnant teenager who did die of complications of influenza. About 80% of the kids who die of flu were not vaccinated. Take this seriously. Talk to your child's pediatrician.
You know what? Thank you for your advice. I hope everybody heeds and accepts it. And let's go to Amy for today's other top stories, starting with more problems at the airport.
Yeah, unfortunately, Michael. Good morning to you and good morning, everyone. Another computer outage is affecting a major airline. This time it is British Airways having trouble checking in passengers just weeks after similar glitches at Delta and Southwest. In this case, about a third of British Airways flights were delayed. Some were even canceled. Things are slowly returning to normal now. President Obama has become the first sitting U.S. president to visit Laos. He announced the U.S. will double the funding available to clear unexploded bombs from the Vietnam War. Meanwhile, the president of the Philippines expressing regret now for using a vulgar term to describe President Obama. The White House canceled their meeting. Well, conservative activist Phyllis Schlafly has died. She helped defeat the Equal Rights Amendment in the 70s and was an outspoken critic of abortion rights and same-sex marriage. Overnight, Donald Trump called her an icon. Schlafly was 92. Los Angeles pitcher Matt Shoemaker is said to be resting comfortably after emergency brain surgery. He suffered a skull fracture when he was hit by a 105-mile-per-hour line drive. You see it there. Whew. Incredibly, though, doctors expect a full recovery. And finally, Serena Williams is making history. She has won her 308th career Grand Slam match, breaking Roger Federer's record while advancing to the U.S. Open quarterfinals. Now she will try to break the record for the most U.S. Open titles ever. And did you see who was in the audience? Oh, this guy and his lovely daughters. I loved your caption, Michael, watching the Williams sisters with these little sisters. A good time was had by all?
The Williams sisters may be nicer to each other than those two.
I saw you all at dinner last night. They're sweet as can be.
Yeah, with you when you're
Oh, is that what it is?
But they're great girls. They really are really great.
Yeah, it's great to have you back, Ginger. I know you've been out and about, and you kind of noticed something when you were out.
I did, and I'm going to have to tell you about it later. Looks like we've run out of time. Yeah, we've got to get to your local weather in 30 seconds. But first, Tuesday Trivia brought to you by Deepwater Horizon, rated PG-13.
Mayday, Mayday, this is Deepwater Horizon.
Come on, we gotta go!
My husband, Mike Williams, is on the Deepwater Horizon.
Everybody calm down. What's wrong? Not now, baby. My wife name's Felicia. And my daughter, Sydney. And I will see them again. Do you understand me?
Deepwater Horizon, rated PG-13. Experience it in IMAX September 30th. Lots of sunshine today, so don't leave home without the sunglasses, and it will be warming up quick, up to 86 degrees by lunchtime. 91's where we'll top out, but it won't feel all that bad, especially with low humidity. And also, it will be breezy to even windy, winds gusting to about 25 this afternoon. Getting hotter and more humid through the middle and end of the week. Thursday will be the hottest. Friday and Saturday still hot and sticky, but by Sunday, cooler and drier and beautiful to kickstart the work week next week.
Ginger already gave us one tease. Here's some other ones. ABC News exclusive Chris Brown telling his side of the story after that 9-hour standoff with police at his home. What really happened? We're going to take you behind the scenes.
Plus, take a look at this. 6-month-old baby water